He goes mad for those ads. He's got a Trailer Jones.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Trailer Jones, the show where we analyze and score the latest and greatest trailers, joined by Daniel Bloodworth.
Hello.
For this reveal of Witcher 3. I gotta be honest, or Witcher 3, just Witcher on Netflix. I gotta be honest, I thought we had this already, but I guess it was just the images. So
no, they had a trailer. This is the second trailer.
Okay, so what is it about this trailer that really stands out? Daniel Bloodworth, who has read most, if not all, of the Witcher books and played most, if not all, of the Witcher game content. And I have only played Witcher 3 and dearly loved it. It was my game of the year that year. And I'm stoked for this. And so my first thought was, wow, this looks great. My second thought is, got to get Daniel Bloodworth on Trailer Jones to talk about it. So what were you expecting out of this trailer? I got to wonder before anything, because you were going to watch this anyway. So I wonder what this trailer needed to do for you.
I mean, I wasn't expecting this. I haven't been keeping that close an eye on it. I just saw people tweeting about it. It's like, oh, hey, look, there's a new Witcher trailer. So that's... I haven't been super invested in it, although I will say this is definitely getting me to the point now where I'm like, I should read through the books again. As you mentioned, I've read the books, but I haven't read all of the books because when I read them, they hadn't been officially translated yet, and I didn't want to get into fan translations. But my understanding for sure, and even from seeing what's in the trailer here, is that, this is a retelling of the main plot line of the books with Geralt and Ciri. For you, you're going to get essentially the backstory of The Witcher 3, because The Witcher 3 kind of picks up after all of that.
Fantastic.
The whole trilogy picks up after the books.
Yeah, because I think that would be probably the easiest number one question is, okay, Witcher 3 was my first and only Witcher game because of the hype that got much more than these others. What of this will I enjoy? Because I think, for Witcher 3 fans, even for people who didn't finish that game, there's a lot visually here that's going to stand out. And a lot of stuff specifically I want to talk about in the trailer. But I just think that's like the interesting thing to address for gaming fans. Because this... If I played Witcher 3 and I'm looking at this looks awesome. Like, this just really looks, super high budget, lots of locations, lots of intrigue, specific points I want to get to. But anything also narratively that sticks out that I might not know just being a game fan that you're like, ooh, have experience with the books, I see what they're doing there in that spot.
You're getting to see the origin of the relationship between Geralt and Ciri. This is very much a big thing here. They're also introducing Yennefer as well. And you even from the dialogue that she says, you get a pretty clear sense that this is also her meeting him. So there's a lot of interesting things going on there. I do think that the bathtub shot pulled from The Witcher 3 is hilarious.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
But to me, it's got a little bit of everything. This definitely feels, I can tell this is telling a story I'm not familiar with. It definitely has that. It says based on the book series. I think it will reference the game, but and will ride on the popularity of the game franchise. But I think this is primarily going to tell the story of the books. I think there's more room to expand upon that. Then you can, like you were saying, you're not even caught up on a lot of that stuff, and you're always telling me little tidbits about lore from this world that you've gleaned just from the books. And so I think, taking the literary road is definitely the angle. So it kind of seems like the best of both worlds. If I haven't played any of the games, this sounds like there's a lot here. A lot of Game of Thrones fans post Game of Thrones looking for something else to sink their teeth into.
Yeah, that's one thing. And there's definitely a lot of the kind of sexual elements in both the books and the game. But it is kind of funny to see that shot with just it's such a Game of Thrones shot to where it's blurred out just enough to be able to post on Twitter. I'm like, that's a bunch of naked people back there. What is happening? And it's just entirely just as a set, right? It's probably there's not going to be involved in any conversation. They're just there.
The moment with Roach, I think, is really great too. That I think this is mostly steered towards game fans, along with the magic. Seeing him do. It's not Igni. It's Quen.
No, that's Ard. The force pushes Ard.
That blocks the guys back. Yeah. So these little beats, but specifically him talking to Roach. If I had known nothing about this story, I'd be, that kind of endears me to this character that's going to be the lead of the show. But for game fans, it's like hell yeah. I hope there's a lot of good Roach moments.
The one shot that really kind of piques my interest. I mean, and it has to be in this series if they're telling the books. Is you see the island with the tower on it, that it's a long bridge that goes out. I can't be 100% sure because the way it's described and then the way it looks on screen can be different. But immediately that makes me think it's Aretuza. Essentially, the sorceress's academy. That's where sorceresses learn and are taught and trained. And
cool.
But there is some major stuff that goes down there that even reverberates into stuff that impacts the Witcher games. So, and there's definitely stuff to where if you know that story and then you hear about some of these side things in Witcher 3, that it's like it hits you a lot harder than just reading without that context.
You know what's interesting to me, Bloodworth, is the lack of monsters in this trailer, in a good way. This trailer definitely seems to highlight the problems that he has with humans, the problems that he has with misunderstandings, like getting hit in the head with rocks, having people kind of question him and wonder curses about him. And he fights almost exclusively humans in this. And so I think this is a really interesting setup, to kind of build this as, and again, not to bring up like Game of Thrones, I know it's like the easiest point to bring up, but it just this seems kind of like a plea almost to be like, there is a lot of human drama. Like there will be magic in this,
right.
There will be monsters in this, there will be spookiness and special effects and stuff like that. But it really is the people that is going to carry you through, the story. And really, I think the first trailer that I saw kind of sold the budget, the premise, but this just really sells him in that role. I think they picked some really good lines, and it's neat to see him kind of, disappear into the role. And it's interesting to see, even outside of the games, that, like, I guess the design of this world is so set that, like, even if you were to do a film or were to do art or were to do a game, he's still going to look like that because that's just the way he is described in the books.
Right. The one thing that, in terms of his description and stuff, I really appreciate here is his wolf medallion is circular. Whereas in the games, it's always been, even in like the collector's editions and stuff, it's always been this big pointy thing, which, it might not be practical. You don't want to get stabbed by your own medallion, right?
Sure.
So that's interesting. The other interesting little thing that I noticed is at the end, the logo they have, it's got the wolf, but it also has the swallow, which is Ciri. So it's a really nice
cool
touch there.
And she's featured very heavily in this trailer. This definitely seems like, definitely seems like a story that is tying the two of them together.
The books, I'm going to tell you straight up, the books at times are more of a story about her than they are about him.
Yeah, and I just, even in the games, there's people telling stories about flashbacks. There's moments where you're giving visions of other things, and it's a cool world. And I got to admit, Blood, this trailer really sells this thing. Like it seems like the world is big enough to tell the story. I think there's like enough characters that are introduced. I really almost get no sense of like how all these scenes play off of each other. So it doesn't necessarily like spoil, the sequence of things like, well, I know how that episode's going to be. It's like, this is just kind of all over the place in a really great way.
Like I haven't followed what they're doing very closely. So I don't know like how they're breaking this up, right? Like, I don't know if the first season is supposed to be it wouldn't be the first book because actually the story starts in the later books, So it's like, that's what I'm saying. It's like, I don't know exactly what they're going to be going for season by season, or if they're going to really dial into their main story and leave a lot of the other stuff to the sidelines.
I dig it. I hope no weird trailers come up later that have like a weird comedy bent or like should reveal too many monsters when I might want to like save them for actually watching the show. Because I think this trailer does a really good job, like I was saying, of kind of showing the theme, showing big moments, showing the budget, showing characters, but I don't feel spoiled. Like even just watching this now, like repeatedly, it's like, man, it's real hard. I mean, you have this moment at the end, you see him kind of cursed or maybe like being taken over by magic.
I think that's probably.
I'm sure you could probably lay that out.
Yeah,
first.
I think that's just him. It's like when you're in the game, you knock back the potions. Do you remember like how his face would get all purple and stuff?
Yes.
Yeah. So that's really all that is. I'm pretty sure.
And it just seems like if I'm a game fan, it seems like the trailer does enough to suggest like that's all in there. We're just focusing more on the characters. We're focusing more on the story. And I've just seen a lot of people. I think the vibes are good out there for this trailer. I'm actually curious. I was curious if you might come in, as like a book snob and just like, well, they're doing all of these weird things. Like, do you like this trailer before we get into actual scoring? Like just beyond the specific technical stuff?
The thing I guess I worry about the most, which may not matter, is like just when they do monsters, like whether those parts will seem hokey, whether you'll feel a budget creep in there. But as you said, like a lot of this story is about Geralt getting pulled into political dramas that he doesn't know how to handle or want to have any part in, but he just keeps ending up in the middle of it all.
I hope the monsters aren't focused on so much. I hope that is just kind of like you were saying, like just part of his job. Like I don't necessarily see a lot of that stuff factoring into like being in and of itself like big story moments. Just so surprised how many characters are kind of thrown at this, how much all of the magical elements are kind of sprinkled throughout all of this, but like there is, primarily a human drama, and I don't feel like we get too much of him. I think it's done really well. I think it's done with a lot of intrigue. I've kind of talked about really liking trailers, so I don't want to like score this too high. I'm gonna go with you. I promise I won't be influenced too much, but I am curious what Daniel Bloodworth is going to score this before I drop my score.
Yeah, I like it. Like I said, it makes me want to go back and read the books to prepare and like know what I'm going in for when this starts. Definitely want to watch it, even though I'm not a Netflix member at this time. This is something that is going to get me to watch. That's going to get me to subscribe for whatever month they have it going.
Dude, there's a review. I can just put that on text on the screen. Like Blood is going to get Netflix. There's your score.
Yeah, I feel like they've just gotten a lot of it, the feel of it right, to where it feels pretty grounded, but at the same time you get those bits in there. You get the movement, like his twirling and stuff is there.
Oh yeah, from the game, he's spinning all over the place. I love it.
So yeah, I think for me, I would go with 8.5 on this.
Oh, cool. I'll do an 8.9. I think this really came together, and it's not just a matter. I also say just one last thing. It's not just a matter of selling a budget to be like, look, we have money. It's showing that you spent the budget on the right stuff. It's showing that even with all of the stuff that we can show off, we are going to be a little reserved with how many lines we actually give Geralt in this trailer. We are going to be reserved in specifically how much we show you a Ciri's vision, so that like you can see that it's tough for her. I think emotionally it makes a really great investment at showing all the right shots. Like even though it has silly elements, there's just a lot of drama going on here, and it just takes this whole thing a lot more seriously than I had expected. I think it's really easy to sell this kind of big and broad and boisterous, and like put a rock song in there or something, and it just seems it's just very raw and quick. And like I said, discombobulated enough that it's not spoiling the order of the series for me, or necessarily like the strong beats of the story enough where I'm like, okay, well, at least when story B happens, I know C is next along the way. Like, no idea what this first episode of the show is going to be like based on this. And we've watched this trailer a lot, but that would bring us to an average 8.7 for the second trailer. Are you going to watch other trailers? Could I get you for another trailer, Jones, for Witcher? Or you think you're sure, ready to go and you don't want to? Is it possible to spoil this show for Daniel Bloodworth?
Yeah, I can't think of anything that I would think of as a spoiler off the top of my head, just because I have already read the books. So, it's like one of those things. It's like, well, how are they going to make this person look or whatever? But like even here, like with Yennefer, like it took me a couple of shots before I'm like, is that actually Yennefer? Because they never say her name, but it's like, okay, right. She's got the fur thing on, and she's got this has got to be Yennefer. So.
How are they going to surprise Daniel Bloodworth? We will find out when the show premieres. Thank you for hanging out on Trailer Jones Blood. Thank you for your score. And thanks for listening, everybody. See you next episode.